Hello and welcome back, adventurers. This is Captain TTRPG, and today we're talking about Pathfinder 2nd Edition. Hello and welcome back, adventurers. Today we are going to rank the class archetypes for the Witch. Since we did the ranking video for all of their subclasses or patrons already, I promised I would do the class archetypes going forward, and here they are. In this case, we have 3 class archetypes for the Witch, 2 of which are not unique to the Witch. But let's go ahead and talk criteria first, and then we'll get into what those class archetypes are. So on screen, you can see my ranking for class archetypes. This is all about these broader subclass abilities that have special things to them that meet kind of the subclasses of other classes. So anyway, S is a subclass that is clearly mechanically stronger for combat than other subclasses, while not falling behind in other pillars of play that naturally fit the class well. Basically, this is a subclass that becomes a default, or in this case, an archetype that becomes a default or the right way to play. A is a subclass or archetype that will be strong in combat in any adventure, though not only strong on its own, also helps out the party because this is a team-based game, and it should lean into the strengths of the class, while not excluding whether they're good at social exploration as well. B is a subclass that is mechanically strong on its own, or does a good job of boosting the party, but usually not both. It may not be especially strong generally, but certain campaigns can make it stronger. C is a subclass that lands here for not being terribly strong in combat in almost any campaign. There might be like one niche spot where it shines, but generally speaking, it won't be great, or just might not take advantage of what the class is best at. D is a trap. D is something you might want to avoid. It's a subclass or class archetype that honestly detracts from the base class or tries to convince you to do something with the class that is disadvantageous. Fantastic. Let's go ahead and get into these class archetypes. And, they do not follow the rules of patrons. So when I talk about each class archetype, I'll talk about what they're all about. They don't fall perfectly in line, but I still want to rank them in here because they do play a role in how you choose to play your witch, so you can combo some of these up with patrons because they don't select that for you. Starting off, we have the elementalist. An elementalist witch still chooses a patron and gets a hex spell at level 1, but also your elemental philosophy. This is something we already talked about when I have talked about class archetypes in the past, but let's go ahead and go through it again. When you choose your patron, you still get the skill training, hex cantrip, special ability, familiar, all that stuff. You will still have a 4 ability familiar. You will still get your focus spell, but you don't get access to the spell tradition from your patron or the rank 1 spell your patron usually grants for free. So those things go away because we're focusing on elemental magic. But what this does mean is that you can make an interesting combination of a non-primal hex cantrip with the ability alongside basically a primal spell list. So this is the elemental parts of the primal spell list. It's not the full thing, but you get to combo up pretty well. Maybe you want the shutdown ability of like the Devourer of Decay Frighten Hex and Sicken Familiar ability with the Elementalist's Entangling Flora spell to really lock something down or cripple an entire battlefield. There's a lot of possibilities here because of the way it's done. Does this reduce the options available versus a primal list? Yeah, it definitely does. This is definitely a smaller list, but does still offer an interesting opportunity. The curated elemental lists boasts really solid single target damage spells, party buffs, and defensive options, and of course AoE spells as well. Just at rank 1, we see things like Briny Bolt, Hydraulic Push, Protector Tree, and Runic Weapon. Standouts at rank 2, things like Blazing Bolt, Ignite Fireworks, and of course Entangling Flora, like I mentioned, and Summon Elemental. All of these are available to the Elementalist. And of course, spells like Fireball and stuff as we go up higher. As for standout archetype feats, they don't need to be too crazy to fit along witch feats, because witch feats, other than the lessons, because the lesson feats that give you your focus spells are actually very solid, but other feats are honestly, not entirely, not all of them, but there are plenty of underwhelming witch feats that you're not really fighting that hard against. So, these can fit nicely. The dedication feats like Elemental Familiar, which can give a massive defensive buff if you're allowed to put it alongside your Familiar, which you should be able to. Rock Slide spell gives you AoE support. So there are a ton of feats here that give you spell shapes. So things like Rock Slide spell is a spell shape for AoE. It's very, very solid. Reverberating spell, same thing, really solid if you're going to do AoE damage. So these can be really nice when you're comboing up with already solid witch features. I'm not going through all of it because I did talk about every single feat before in a different video. Go check out my class archetype ranking video and it'll get into all of it. But all in all, this is honestly a solid take for witch that wants to combo something really interesting that's offered by a patron with a very different set of spells that it wasn't meant to go alongside of. While I was lukewarm on this for druid because it just felt like doubling down on the same thing, I actually think this is absolutely a solid choice for witch, and I'm going to give it an A. I think combo this up with the right patron, and you have an incredible setup for your witch. So from the elementalist, we are going to jump into the flexible spell preparation witch. Again, in that same video, I cover this for the druid, so I'm not going to get into full depth here. Once again, this is different for a witch, but the changes are more subtle. In this case, we choose all of our normal witch stuff at level 1. Everything you normally get at a witch, you're still getting. The only difference is that you will have fewer spell slots at each rank each day, but you can cast any spells that you prepare in a special way at the start of the day and for the appropriate spell slots. You prepare a number of spells per rank each day for the number of slots you had, just as if you were a spontaneous caster. So at level 1, you prepare 2 rank 1 spells, but can use them with either slot, right? It's not choosing exactly which slot you normally do like a prepared caster. You do also get a reduced number of cantrips, but those increase pretty quickly back to a reasonable number, so I don't think that's a huge hit. There are no additional feats for the archetype, but you still have to take the dedication feat at level 2. Honestly, I was kind of nice to this in the druid review when I thought about it, but this may be easier for new players. Like, it might make things easier for them, but boy, does it reduce what you can do with your class. For which, this is a C. I wouldn't do this. I don't think there's any reason to do this, and it's just going to take away viability from the class. Our final class archetype is witch specific, which is fantastic, and it's the seneschal witch. So what happens at level 1? You will still choose your patron and focus spell as usual, but you won't get your hex cantrip or your free rank 1 spell from your patron. Your familiar will still get its special ability. You will still have your chosen spell tradition, and you'll have your skill training. So losing all those, what do you get in place of those? You're going to get the new hex cantrip Manifest Will. Manifest Will creates a 10-foot emanation around you. It can be sustained up to 1 minute. The effect depends on your chosen spell tradition from your patron. If it's arcane, which of course there's a whole 1 patron for that, any creature starting in this emanation has weakness 1 to spell damage for 1 round. And this goes up by 1 each heighten plus 1. So this will go up over time. If you are a divine spellcaster, then any living or undead creature starting in the 10-foot emanation gains 2 temporary hit points for a round, and its heighten plus 1 adds another 2 temporary hit points. For occult casters, allies starting in it have lesser cover while inside, and for 1 turn after leaving. Lesser cover does give you a bonus to your AC, a circumstance bonus. And for primal, a creature starting its turn inside has a minus 10-foot status penalty to speeds for 1 round or until it escapes. Obviously, there are some better and some worse in that list, considerably better and considerably worse than each other. But it also depends on how you want to play your witch. The dedication itself is going to give you some nice bonuses as well. So remember, at level 1, you're going to get the things we just talked about, meaning the Manifest Will. The dedication you're going to get at level 2. You gain the Witch's Charge feat. Witch's Charge lets you choose 1 creature during your daily prep. You will know the direction, distance, and conditions it has, so where they are, how far away they are, and anything going on with them. You can cast touch spells on that creature from up to 30 feet away. If your charge isn't your familiar or a creature with the minion trait, you can have your emanation from Manifest Will focus on your charge. That stay within 30 feet of you, but it can be built around them, and that changes Manifest Will considerably. Then we have the feats available to the class archetype. At level 4, we have Patron's Glamour. You get Illusory Disguise as an innate spell. This auto heightens like a cantrip does, only to disguise as humanoid form of your patron. So whatever your patron is, you get to disguise yourself as their humanoid form. It's fine, you know, you might use it. It's got out of combat utility. I don't consider it amazing, but it's okay. Also at level 4, we have Seneschal Spell. This is one action and it's a spell shape once per hour. If your charge is in 30 feet, remember that person you chose, then your next spell is cast from them. The charge can use their reaction to make the spell a subtle spell on your behalf, but it won't be subtle from them. So nobody will know that you cast it through them, but it's still going to be cast from them. This is extremely useful and so powerful with emanation spells especially, because you want to set it around if your charge is a melee ally. This is an incredible way to send all sorts of spells through them that you would normally never want to cast because you don't want to be in the midst of the combat. Multifaceted Will, this is level 6. When you cast or sustain Manifest Will, you choose any bonus of the 4. Doesn't matter what your spell tradition is, you just choose which one you want. You and allies in the emanation gain a +1 to saves against spells with the same tradition as the Manifest Will choice you made. That's a ton of versatility. You can choose based on casters that you're fighting against, or you can just choose whatever fits the best for the situation you've got with the enemies. I think this is incredibly powerful and would absolutely be a feat I would take. Spiritual Secret, also at level 6. This is a free action and a spell shape. You can cast it once per hour. This turns your next damage spell all into spirit damage. Now, this can be absolutely useful in the right situations, and spirit damage is almost never resisted, and sometimes there's weakness to it, so it can be good, but it's not going to be great every time. I'd still think it's worth considering. Then we have Watcher on the Wall. This is level 8, and this feat takes 2 actions. You place a symbol on an adjacent wall. You can see and hear through that symbol until you put another one on a different wall, and your connection to it is infinite as long as you're on the same plane of existence. No time limit, no resource use. This is great for gathering intel, assuming you can set it up. It's not going to be great every day, but oh boy, is it going to be great a lot of the time. Like, this is just really solid. Martyr, this is level 10, has 1 action, and is a spell shape. If your next action is harm or heal at 1 ally, meaning probably the 2 action cast, you take some of your health and give it to them. You can take 1d8 of your health per rank of the spell you cast. Heal is already an amazing spell when upcast. I don't think you're ever going to need to add some of your health on top of it because it's just so much healing already that I actually worry about this. If you want to go the harm route and deal extra damage, I don't think taking your health to do this is great, but I mean, you certainly could if you really want to blow something up. Patron's Whisper. You get Message as an innate cantrip. Okay. Any distance is possible if sending to your current or former charge. So you set that charge. You could be switching it every day, however that works. You get to send them messages wherever they are, which is kind of cool. They have a -2 circumstance penalty to detect lies that you tell them through it, which is weird. I don't know why you'd lie to your charge, but sure. It's unlikely to matter, honestly, because party members usually aren't that far from you. But hey, cool in theory. Unstable Patronage. This is level 14 feet. During daily prep, choose a spell your familiar knows that is no higher than 2 less than your highest spell rank. So if you can cast up to rank 7 spells, then you choose one that's no higher than rank 5. Then you choose 1 charge. That charge can cast that spell once as an innate spell before the next daily prep. The versatility here is absolutely nuts. Giving even 1 spell a day to a martial can be ridiculous if you choose it wisely. I think this is fantastic, and I would take it every time. Premonition of Clarity, level 16 feet, a reaction, once per hour. Keep in mind, once per hour isn't bad. You probably use it more than once a day. It's not as good as, once every 10 minutes or constantly, but once per hour is no once per day. It is better than that in my mind. When you fail a save against a mental effect, you can re-roll with a +2 circumstance bonus. You have to use the new result. Yes, this is helpful, and the higher level you get, the more painful it will be to fail mental effects. So it could definitely be worth taking. I would probably take it. Inviolable. Creatures that hit you with attacks take 3d6 spirit damage. You can have the holy or unholy trait on this depending on your sanctification if you have one. And you shouldn't be getting attacked much. But you know what? I mean, free damage is free damage. It's not crazy, but it's not bad. And finally, Patron Reborn. This is a level 20 feat. You are your Patron Reborn. You have dark vision, constant true sight, and you see into other overlapping planes. You choose one patron, and now witches of that patron are your charge for free. Which is cool. Unlikely to come up, but very cool. You learn the wish ritual and can perform with your charges. If you're doing the wish ritual once per month, you can roll for your charge. I mean, wish is good if you've got people to do it with, and now you actually do. Getting to roll for them means it'll almost certainly work. This is so cool. I mean, just the constant true sight is fantastic. This is just good, and is no doubt something I would pick up. The Seneschal Witch is a very strong way to play the Witch. Your party composition plays a big role in it, so do think about that. If you have melee marshals, then the emanation could be absolutely destructive for your enemies if they're tied to it, provided that you can keep within 30 feet of your charge. The cantrip itself, even if emanating from you, has really good options, so it's just a good general cantrip. All of them, meaning all of the options, have some use. So the level 6 feat allowing you to choose which one you want, that's just incredibly, incredibly powerful, because it's choose whatever fits the situation best. I think there are still stronger witch hex cantrips for debuffing enemies, but this is great for support. It can be good for damage, and even some level of control, especially when thrown on the right ally. The feats do range from some being relatively useless to extremely good, but more are definitely on that extremely good end of things. I particularly like multifaceted will and unstable patronage. I think both of those are absolute takes. The fact that you can pair this with your favorite familiar ability, I'm thinking of a particular one that may have ranked S for us earlier, and there are just some amazing ones that, were tied to weaker cantrips, where the cantrip wasn't the power, the familiar ability was the power. This means that a mix and match that just can't be beat can be put together here. I am on the border of A and S, honestly. I'm going to do it. This is S tier. Seneschal Witch is amazing and should absolutely be something you consider. I'm sure I'll get plenty of thoughts about that. On screen, you can see the final Witch rankings, and we added even more versatility to the list here. What do you think? Did I overrate the Seneschal Witch? Let me know in the comments below, and as always, adventure on.